You know, it's also not a great start to the year. Please don't get upset with me. I am just the messenger, okay? I'm just the messenger. Are you ready? Allegedly, pricing for the Steam machine may have just leaked through a Czech retailer. It's worse than we could have imagined. Now, before I show you, I want to be clear. It's possible that this is partially because of like import duties and fees and stuff like that. That's possible, okay? So the price could be a tad lower than this in like the US, for example. But people have gone onto the website of this Czech retailer. Initially, something was posted. Now you can find it in the code of the website if you do that, like F12 inspect element and everything. But they found that the Steam machine price was listed at $950 USD for the 512 gig model and $1,070 for the 2 terabyte model. They do have an update though, a new update. Hold on. In response to the publication of this article, maybe, are we going to debunk it? Please. In response to the publication of this article, a separate user on X, formerly Twitter, dug into the smarty.cz source code to verify the Steam machine pricing estimates for themselves and went a step further to look into Alza, another separate Czech retailer and one of the country's largest. On Alza, their listing for the Steam machine, user Hajidin, I'm not sure, also found that it had similar pricing structure for the Steam machine, though it added that the original post's indication that the actual price will be lower than the conversion estimate is almost definitely correct due to Alza and Smarty CZ including their own markups. Okay. So this is kind of what they're talking about. So you can go into the code and find in the HTML the listing of like data GA small item, I guess, 2 terabyte, price 22305, full price 26990, pocket price 26990, tax 4684, brand, valve, etc. And they were able to check this on these multiple outlets to see what they had it listed at and break it down. Import tax, didn't know that. However, retailers are definitely free to buy the Steam Deck, at least as you can comfortably buy it from the retailers being discussed here. It costs around $350 post-tax, despite the limited supply. So it seems like there is possibly a markup included in this. So if the markup is say $50 US, and maybe there's import duties of $50, then $850 USD, you know. I think it's all about degrees, right? Import duties and, markups are certainly a thing that I think would indicate that the price will be lower than what you see here. But personally, I don't see this working if it's a penny over 700. I don't think it sells well at 700. I think it needs to be in that like console range of like 600 and lower to actually find a place. At even close to even 850, I just don't see how this works, man. Like I don't see how that works, dude. Like, even if you say that the price is $100 lower than this, I still don't think that works. And to be clear, this is going to be true for all hardware this year. I want to be clear that this is not just like a Steam machine thing. Everything's going to be expensive. We just talked the other day about how Samsung was warning people leading into CES that even their smart fridges and like dishwashers are going to go up in price because of the VRAM or because of the DRAM shortages. And just like today, apparently they were doing an interview about Samsung TVs and warned that the prices on the TVs will also be going up because of all of the memory shortages. So everything in your life that's digital will go up in price this year, probably significantly. Okay, like it's a little silly. Dishwashers, yeah, dude, some of those dishwashers, they like connect to your Wi-Fi and like send you notifications for when the dishes are done. I had in a house we were renting, there was a refrigerator there that connected to the Wi-Fi, and it would auto order itself a new water filter whenever it would need one, which is crazy, but that's just smart appliances, right? Smart appliances. So I think that if it's even close to this, I don't know, man. I cannot fathom a world in which this like sells well if it's close to that price, because I'm like one of the target audiences, and I feel like a lot of you guys are too. I'm reading through the chat and a lot of you guys are like, there's no way that it sells if it's 1,000. I kind of agree, dude. Like, I don't know how that works if it's anywhere close to that level. You know, I don't see how that works. So it's just a tough spot. It's a tough spot for them to be in. And to be clear, it's not all their fault. If they could price it at 600 and that made sense financially, I'm sure they would. It's kind of above their pay grade, but I'm one of the target audiences for this that has expendable income and likes spending money on tech. And even I'm like, bro, I don't know how I could possibly justify spending like $800 to $900 on this thing. I don't see it, dude. I don't see how it could work. So I don't know. The 1,000 for the 2 terabyte, when I first saw this number, I was like, okay, maybe this could work. Maybe if it's 1,070 for 2 terabyte, that puts it at like 800 for the 512 model. And if it's 500 or 800 for that, maybe with import duties, it's actually being sold at 700, maybe, but like 950, dude, that's steep. That is steep. So we'll see. It's possible that it ends up being cheaper and they walk it back. As of right now, as you can see, I love this thing that WCCF Tech does where they do a rumor assessment. They do this on all of their like rumor speculation things where they rate it based on whether the timeline makes sense, the technical stuff makes sense, and then they corroborate it. That gets a score. So if other agencies or outlets are reporting the same thing, or if they have multiple sources saying the same thing, they'll rate it higher. And then the source, they'll also rate it. So for example, we did like the Starfield 2.0. I think they had an article on that. Let's see, did they do? Yeah. So with this, source, 5 out of 5. Corroboration, 3 out of 5. Technical, 5 out of 5. Timeline, 5 out of 5. And so they rate it as highly likely. I love this thing that they do. I think more outlets should do that. Shout out WCCF Tech. That's fantastic. But having said that, this is probable. So it's not totally unfounded or anything. It still has a lot of moving parts, such as the markups that the outlets could put on this. Maybe they're doing the scalper thing and they actually slapped a $400 markup on it. I don't think that's likely, but maybe 21% VAT. Yeah, the value added tax slapped on top. That certainly gets the number lower when converted for like US markets. I don't think it even then gets it far enough, but still, we're in that range. We're in that range. So we'll see. I think it's just to warn people. I don't think this is going to be one of those products where it's like, ooh, yeah, I'll just go pick one up real quick. I think it's going to be like a big choice if you want to get into it. And even then performance is going to matter. And I'm not convinced performance will be phenomenal for the specs I've seen. So it's just going to be interesting. I'm intrigued by it. I want the Steam Machine to make sense. But for me personally, if it gets over 700, I'm like, I think I'm out, full stop at that point. If it's between like 500 and 700, I'd probably think about it and might get it, might not. Under 500, I'm like, sure, let's do it. But I don't think there's any shot it's anywhere close to 500. So there you go. Sorry to break your heart. Sorry to break your heart, but there you go. He said, for context, the 256 gigabyte Steam Deck sells for $530 pre-tax here. So my guess is there's a truly huge markup on the price. That's kind of the hope, at least. So at most, the cheapest is likely to be around 800. If we do go with the possible price diff, someone told me in US Steam Deck is 400. It looks like it, which would mean that maybe their retail is going to end up at 800. So if the markup is proportional to the markup that same store is doing for the base Steam Deck, it would put the Steam Machine at like 800 US, which I think sounds more realistic than like 950. I don't think 950 is the price, but I think even at 800, I'm like, it's a lot. It's a lot. So we'll see. I'm sure they're going to announce pricing relatively soon because their goal was to launch it relatively soon, but time will tell. Seems expensive. Yeah, I mean, it is. It is. And I think it's just, unfortunately, the reality of the situation. Like, I don't think there's much they can do about it. It's way beyond their, like, purview. It's like global economy stuff, you know? Valve has enough money to, well, yeah, Valve has enough money to, but Valve also has all the money that they have because they don't give things away for free. And they don't lose $100 or $200 on every unit. Like, and the other piece is, like, why do companies usually sell things at a loss? To gain market share, right? Steam already basically owns the PC storefront. Like, who are they really competing against? You could say that they're trying to go up against console platforms with the Steam machine specifically. They're trying to get like living room market share, which I think makes sense. I think that that's probably fair. But this Steam machine does not compete, I don't think, with like even a PS5, at least in terms of power and what it's able to do on a fidelity level. My understanding as a stupid gamer dude is that it's somewhere between a Series S and a Series X. Like, it's somewhere between there, probably closer to the Series S than it is to the X. And at that point, I'm like, bro, for $800, yes, you get access to the Steam storefront, but like, you know, that's a lot to play games at 1080p. Like, it's just a lot, you know? I don't know if it works, but we'll see. I hope that they put it out and it's one of those things that can go on sale, and maybe then it makes sense, and maybe developers optimize for it. And you know how we now get like Steam Deck verified? Maybe they'll have Steam Machine verified, and that'll be like a dedicated setting and optimization for certain games. That would be cool. Once we get that, then I think it starts to make sense. But if you have a lot of money to spend on gaming hardware, especially this year, I'm not sure you're spending it on like a lower tier gaming all-in-one PC like that. You know, I think that you're better. You'll be better off buying like a used GPU upgrade or something. Not RAM. Don't buy RAM. Just don't do RAM right now. RAM's bad. A friend of mine sent me a picture of his RAM that he bought in like, it was over the summer, like June, July or something. And I made fun of him a little because he got like a ridiculous 128 gig pack of whatever RAM that he did not need. Like, he's not making videos or doing any simulations or anything. He's playing games. He does not need 128 gigs of RAM, but he bought the kit, put it in his PC, and then just checked the price to see where it is today. And dude, he spent like, I think it was like $400 back in June, and now it's like $2,300 or something. It's unbelievable. It's crazy. It's crazy. Who needs the stock market when you can just buy RAM? You know, the thing is that the price of self-built and pre-built will skyrocket as well. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Everything's going up in price. I mean, it's even the OEM guys, they will have a discount, like, because they're buying in bulk, right? Like, if you buy an all-in-one laptop, like a gaming laptop, for example, I think you probably will save money. And I do think a lot of people who want to get into PC gaming, that honestly might not be a bad spot to like start, is looking at gaming laptops, because they're manufacturing thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, probably not, of them. And so they can get discounts on parts and assembly and stuff. Gaming laptops might make sense. Building like with discrete parts might just start to get to the point like that it's crazy expensive. You know, very difficult to justify. He took my thing.